Hello and welcome to liveyourlegend.com. I'm going to reveal the secret that enabled a bumbling, one-legged loser like me who had it all, lost it all, and ended up living in a park and selling The Big Issue to turn tragedy into triumph, inspire and empower thousands of people, and become a legend in my own lifetime. Yes, I said it, but don't switch off just yet, because I'm not here to big myself up. My purpose and the purpose of this website is to bring the legend out in you. I'm Chris Paradox, and when I have plenty of breath, I describe myself as a one-legged, existentialist, stand-up beat poet, inspiration engineer, and destiny mentor. But let's get one thing straight. I'm not special. This jacket is special, but I'm not. In fact, I'm not really that quick-witted, intelligent, creative, or well-educated. And I'm just as flawed and as fallible as anyone else. But where I am blessed is that 10 years ago, I learnt one of life's greatest secrets, and I've been living it on and off ever since. Back in 2008, I lost my leg in an accident. And when I left hospital after the amputation, I was really conscious of the fact that I didn't want to become self-conscious about having one leg. So I used to walk around the streets of London wearing shorts so I could get used to other people's reactions. And boy, did I have some reactions. Kids are great because they're just so honest. They'll point and stare and say, wow, you got one leg. What happened? Does it hurt? Does it come off? Is it bionic? And then there was what I labelled the Daily Mail reader's reaction. Every now and again, someone would sneer and disgust and pull their children away as if to say, get that horrible deformity out of here. Don't you know you're bringing the house prices down? And yeah, that was difficult at first. But whenever I find myself asking the question, how could they do that? I think it's useful to ask the question, what would make me do that? And when I asked that question, the answer I got was that most of us don't like to be reminded of the fragility and vulnerability of the human body. And, fear can often turn into a sneer. And when I understood that, well, the Daily Mail readers didn't bother me anymore. And at the other end of the spectrum of responses was a response I only seemed to get from what I labelled in my tiny poetic little mind from handsome middle-aged women with children of university age. And this was just a smile, but it was such a magical smile because it wasn't pity, it was more empathy, understanding, solidarity, equality, and plenty of things that I have no words for. But the effect of this smile was to leave me walking on air, actually hopping on air for the next few hours. And all of that inspired a poem about suddenly finding myself on the other side of the disabled fence. And it's called Disabled Guy. See, it's a terrible thing to lose a limb, but I've never bothered to ask why. Because what matters is learning to live with the fact that now I'm the disabled guy. I'm getting stared at by passers-by. Look, he's lost a leg. I think I'd rather die. I'm a freak, and people take a peek on the sly. I walk in a room and conversation runs dry. Sometimes fear becomes a sneer as I walk by. They can't hide their distaste no matter how hard they try. But some smile a smile that's wide and wry because they know it's all about the attitude I apply. Because on the inside, there's a tragic ladder I climb to kiss the sky. So most of the time I feel like the most high, superfly, disabled guy. It's a hell of a thing becoming disabled after 40 able-bodied years. Hello, come in, sit down. Let me introduce you to your greatest fears. Here's a glass half full of laughter, and here's a glass half full of tears. And here's a brand new rude awakening to a completely new group of peers. So after 40 formative years, I stand before you, deformed. The cause? The need for me to be reborn. The same cause all the fallen hordes hope not to be in forlorn. Shorn of my born adornment, I stand in the dark before the dawn, wearing the sexiest NHS accessory I've ever friggin' worn. See, when I get on the bus and I see some young buck sitting in the disabled seats, the cheeky fuck, I stand in front of him and I say, check this, bruv, and I slowly begin to pull my trouser leg up. And I stare at him, and I stare at the leg, and I stare at him, and I stare at the leg, and I stare at him, and I shake my head, and if looks could kill, well, he'd be dead. You see, I get my powers from the kids. Some call me a flid, but most think I'm Inspector Gadget. And when they see the leg, they all point and stare. And when they see the stump, the little girls get scared. But my little mate Neo didn't care. He took one look and said, oh yeah, a bionic leg, cool, I want one too. I'm like, wake up Neo, legs are best still attached to you. See, I used to think we were freaks too. We used to make me uncomfortable, like we can do you. I didn't quite know what to say or do. I don't want to get caught up in any boo-hoo. But now I'm one of them, and they're one of me. When the shoe's on the other foot, it's amazing what you see. People dealing with tragedy and agony with fantastic existential majesty. People whose physicality and neurology is way more damaged than me, but whose intensity of empathy is absolutely exemplary. See, disabled people tend to be very experienced existentially, and our experience of reality is very valuable when it's viewed creatively. And inspirationally, the very thing that you'd hate to be may be the key to your greatest destiny. It may be the perfect test to see if you can be more than you were born and blessed to be. Blessed be. So if you'd like to learn the secret that allowed me to experience losing my leg as the best thing that ever happened to me, as well as to create a magical, meaningful life that feels like I'm living my legend, then give us your name and email address. Don't worry, we care passionately about your privacy, so we'll never share it with anyone else. And you'll gain immediate access to the next video where we reveal all.